last week was week 9, and we're in week 10 now. That's absolutely crazy. We're going to be doing Ministry Monday, and in Ministry Monday, we're going to be doing what it means to be holy. Right off the bat, I'm going to say holy means to be set apart. And a lot of people, I read this, a lot of people think that they can achieve holiness through an equation. That's X amount of pages in the Bible read times Y amount of prayers said throughout the week times Z number of days of how many times I've done those things. And that equation is so completely wrong, because that places us in the control of our holiness and how we're being set apart to be more like God. A lot of scholars like to think of holiness as they want to achieve Christ's holiness instead of wanting to achieve Christ. That terminology is weird, wanting to achieve Christ, but we want to be pursuing the Creator, not the practices of the Creator. And it is important that when we pursue the Creator, His practices will follow, just as if we pray to God to change our heart, obedience will follow. That's something that I struggled with. I struggled with asking God, please help me to do well on this test, help me to do well on this, at this sports activity. There's so many things that we can pray to do well at. And there's so many things that we can pray, God, help me to just be really good at talking to these people. Help me to be really good at talking to this individual person. But when we have our changed heart, actions like that will follow. And one verse that goes really well with this is Colossians 3:1-3. That is, if you have been raised with Christ, set your minds on things above. Set your hearts on things above and not on earthly things, for you have died and your life is now hidden with Christ in God. And so this is super important, because I want you to check your desires when you're trying to be set apart, when you're trying to be holy. But that's not because you want to be holy, it's because you want to be like God. And so I want to check your desires. Do you desire to read the Word? It's often difficult with our flesh wanting to read the Word very often. Do you desire to obey God? But most of all, above those two, do you desire Christ? Because when you desire Christ, those two will follow again. And that's ultimately what sets us apart, our desires, because the desires of the flesh are to live for the world, to live for the flesh. And it's not until we desire Christ that those desires will go away. And it's not even that those desires will go away. It's that Christ will change our desires toward Him, because our eyes will be toward Him and not toward the world. Because we're seeking Him and not the world. So I encourage you to check your desires today, because those, obedience and reading your Word and praying to God is always going to be available. But it's not until you desire Him, and really until you desire that He changes your heart, that He can change you. Just as you want to hold someone accountable, but you can't hold them accountable unless they want to be held accountable. So desire Christ today, and He will change your heart and make you set apart.